Welcome to this deep dive. Today we're unpacking a really fascinating topic using the sources you shared with us.
That's right.
We're getting into the psychology behind why we buy what we buy. Our main guide here is the article Beyond Demographics, Understanding the Psychology Behind Consumer Behavior.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about moving past those, simple boxes like age or income
Mm-hmm.
and really exploring the deeper psychological stuff that actually drives our decisions when we're shopping.
So what are we covering? We're talking emotions, perceptions, attitudes.
And social influence.
Yeah.
Big one, that. Plus, we'll touch on how businesses can use this stuff, the good and the tricky parts too.
Okay, sounds good. It feels like understanding this gives us a bit of a shortcut, right? To figuring out why consumers choose this over that super useful stuff.
Absolutely. For anyone curious about commerce or just, human behavior in general.
Right. So let's dive in. First up, emotions. We all know feelings play a part when we shop, don't we?
Oh, definitely.
Like the buzz of getting something new, or maybe that little twinge of buyer's remorse afterwards.
Yeah.
But how much are these feelings really in the driver's seat? The article suggests it's, well, maybe more than we consciously admit.
It's huge and often subconscious, like you said.
Yeah.
What's really interesting is how positive feelings, things like happiness, excitement, even nostalgia,
Nostalgia, yeah.
they create these really strong, almost sticky connections between us and
The
brand.
sticky connections, I like that.
It really deepens that emotional bond. And this isn't just like a warm, fuzzy feeling. It translates directly into loyalty.
So you buy again.
You buy again, you become a regular. Maybe you even start telling your friends, oh, you've got to try this brand. You become an advocate.
That totally makes sense. You see it with, say, luxury brands, right?
Yeah.
It's not just a product.
Yeah.
You're buying into that feeling of exclusivity status.
Precisely. They're hitting that desire for something special, something elevated.
And then you have the other end, maybe value brands.
Yeah, right. They often tap into different emotions. Maybe the relief of finding a solution that doesn't break the bank, or the satisfaction of, getting a really good deal.
Yeah, that feeling of being smart with your money.
Exactly. But the article also highlights the flip side. Negative emotions.
Uh-huh. Like frustration.
Fear, anxiety, frustration. These could be powerful repellents. If using a product or dealing with a company consistently makes you feel bad,
You're gone. You're out.
you're going to avoid it naturally.
Okay, this is wild. The article mentions research saying strong emotional connections can boost loyalty by what? Up to 60%?
60%. It's a massive number.
Wow. So it's not just about buying again, it's about really becoming attached and
Yes, sir.
recommending it.
Attached, yeah, and becoming those valuable brand advocates we talked about, spreading the word.
It's so powerful.
It really is. And the article connects this emotional side to something else, cognitive biases.
Ah, the shortcuts our brains take.
Kinda, yeah.
Right.
Like the halo effect.
Yeah.
Ever experienced that?
Explain that one.
Okay, so imagine you buy, say, a phone from brand X.
Yeah.
You'd love it. A fantastic experience.
Right.
The halo effect means that positive feeling can sort of spread. You might start assuming their laptops, their tablets, whatever else they make, must also be great.
Even if you've never used them.
Exactly, even without any direct evidence. So our emotions can actually subtly color our judgment about other things related to the brand.
Huh. So for businesses, understanding these emotional drivers, these biases, that seems crucial.
It's absolutely key. If they can tap into the right emotions, they can really influence our choices, sometimes without us even noticing.
Okay. So beyond just feelings, what about how we see things? Our perceptions.
Yeah.
And the attitudes we develop.
Right. Well, let's shift to that. The article talks about perception, basically, how we interpret stuff and form opinions based on, our past experiences, our beliefs, the info we get.
And attitude.
Attitude is more our overall feeling, our evaluation, positive or negative towards a brand or product.
Yeah.
Both perception and attitude are, as the article points out, major players in our buying behavior.
Makes total sense. If your perception of brand Y is that they're like super reliable, or maybe really high quality, or even that they're doing good things, like being eco-friendly.
Yeah, aligned with your values.
Right. Then you're automatically more likely to trust them, to actually consider buying from them.
Absolutely. And the opposite is true, too. A negative perception, that's a huge barrier to purchase.
Definitely.
And it's not just about the first buy. Positive attitudes, the article argues, they act like glue.
Glue.
Yeah, strengthening loyalty, making you more likely to buy again, and boosting the chance you'll recommend them.
Okay. And these perceptions and attitudes, they don't just like pop out of nowhere, do they?
No, No, they're constantly being shaped. Think about it, marketing messages we see.
All the time.
Customer views, huge influence there. What people are saying online, on social media, it all feeds into how we perceive a brand.
And our attitudes can shift, can't they? Based on our actual experiences.
Oh, absolutely. They're not static. If a company really nails customer service, for instance, or if they genuinely follow through on promises about, say, sustainability, that can really solidify a positive attitude, especially if those are things you care about.
Right. The article mentions companies promoting green practices. That definitely resonates with certain consumers.
Exactly. It fosters positive feelings among people who value sustainability. But there's a risk, too.
Okay.
If a brand messes up, if they don't meet expectations or break a promise, that can quickly sour attitudes. And rebuilding that trust, that could be really, really tough.
So it sounds like actively managing how your brand is perceived and really cultivating those positive attitudes. It's not just fluff.
Not at all.
It's fundamental to getting people to choose you and stick with you.
You got it. It directly impacts the bottom line and long-term loyalty.
Okay, what about other people? How much do they influence what we buy? Let's talk social influence.
Yes. A really powerful one. The article nails it. We're social creatures. We look to others for signals, for guidance.
Especially when we're unsure, right?
Exactly. When there's uncertainty about a decision, we often default to seeing what others are doing or recommending.
Totally, like asking friends, hey, what phone should I get? Or even just noticing what brands the people you follow online are using or talking about.
Yeah, the article mentions several forms. Peer recommendations, definitely. Social media endorsements, and just, observing the behavior of your social circle.
And those social media influencers, they seem to have a huge impact these days.
They really do. The article points this out clearly. If someone you admire or relate to endorses a product,
you're more likely to check it out.
You're much more likely to consider it, yeah. It feels like a trusted recommendation, even if it's sponsored.
It's like seeing proof that someone else likes it, so maybe I will too.
Exactly that. And marketers know this, of course. That's why, as the article discusses, they leverage things like customer testimonials.
Or quotes you see on websites.
Right. Or user-generated content pictures of real people using the product. And those influencer partnerships we mentioned, it all builds credibility and trust.
It's that social proof idea, isn't it?
Precisely. Social proof. Seeing evidence that others approve or have had a good experience reduces our perceived risk.
Makes sense.
And social influence isn't just about specific recommendations, it's broader too. It taps into societal norms, trends, group values.
Like wanting to fit in. Or choosing brands that align with a group you identify with.
Exactly. Connects to our fundamental need for social validation, belonging. We want to make choices that are seen positively by our peers or the groups we aspire to be part of.
So businesses that understand this can design campaigns that tap into that desire, right? That desire to conform or belong or be seen in a certain way.
Absolutely. It helps them shape brand perceptions and harness that collective influence to drive purchases and, again, build loyalty.
Okay, so we've covered emotions, perceptions, attitudes, social factors. It seems like understanding all this psychology offers some real benefits for businesses.
Oh, invaluable insights.
Yeah.
Really. For everything from, developing new products to refining marketing messages, even improving customer relationships.
How so? Like knowing what motivates people.
Yeah. If you understand whether your customers are driven by, say, a need for status or maybe convenience or perhaps emotional fulfillment.
You can tailor your message.
Exactly. You can craft marketing that speaks directly to that specific motivation. Much more effective than a generic message.
And knowing about perceptions and attitudes helps position the product better.
Definitely. You can align your product features, your branding, your communication to match what consumers actually value and how they see the world.
It also sounds like it helps predict things better. Like, how might people react to this ad campaign versus that one?
Right. It moves things away from guesswork. By understanding the underlying psychology, you have a better shot at predicting consumer responses, which helps optimize your efforts and, frankly, avoid costly mistakes.
And what about loyalty? We touched on that.
It's huge for loyalty and long-term engagement. When you understand the emotional triggers, the attitudes, the perceptions that matter to your customers.
You can build a stronger connection.
Yes. You can address their pain points more effectively, adapt when their preferences change, and crucially, build trust over time.
So it's not just about the initial sale.
Not at all. The article really emphasizes that aligning your offerings with those deep psychological needs helps foster a truly loyal customer base that sticks around.
Okay, so lots of upsides for businesses who get this right, but it can't be that simple, can it? Are there challenges?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's be real. Human behavior is complex. It's variable. Predicting it with certainty, very difficult.
People are different. Situations are different.
Exactly. What triggers one person might not trigger another. So making broad generalizations based on psychology is always tricky. Even with tons of data and research, pinpointing the exact psychological trigger for a specific behavior, that can still be a struggle.
And people change, right? Society changes.
Right. That's another big challenge the article touches on. Consumer psychology isn't static. Trends shift, values evolve, new technologies emerge. Businesses need to constantly learn and adapt their understanding. What worked last year might not work next year.
Continuous learning needed then.
Definitely. And then there's the ethical dimension.
Ah, right. Using psychology to influence people. That could get manipulative, couldn't it?
It certainly can. And it's a really important point. Businesses need to be careful how they apply these insights. There's a fine line between understanding customers better and, well, exploiting their vulnerabilities.
Like what kind of tactics?
Well, think about marketing that intentionally taps into deep-seated insecurities to make people feel inadequate without a certain product. Or using fear-based tactics excessively, or creating marketing that fosters unhealthy dependencies or comparisons.
So it's about using the knowledge responsibly.
Exactly. The article rightly cautions against manipulative practices. It's crucial to balance psychological understanding with ethical marketing. That means transparency, respecting consumer autonomy, and genuinely aiming to provide value, not just pushing buttons to make a sale.
A really important balance to strike.
Absolutely essential for long-term trust and brand reputation.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. We've taken a deep dive into the psychology behind consumer behavior.
We have, looking at the power of emotions
How our perceptions and attitudes guide us.
and the undeniable impact of social influence.
And we've seen that while understanding these principles offers huge benefits for businesses, better products, smarter marketing, stronger customer bonds.
There are also real challenges, especially around the complexity of behavior and the critical need for ethical application.
Right. So here's a final thought for you, our listener, to chew on after this deep dive. Think about the last, maybe significant purchase you made. Looking back now, which of these factors, your emotions, your perceptions and attitudes, or maybe social influence, which do you think played the biggest part in that decision?
Yeah, good question.
And were you even aware of it at the time? What could understanding these principles a bit more reveal about your own motivations, your own choices as a consumer? Something to think about. Thanks for joining us.